Hey everyone, so in this video we are going to talk about a command line tool called forc. It lets you interact with the deployed fuel contracts. It allows you to make contract calls, query contract state and interact with any deployed contract on the fuel network all from your command line. Now let's see how forc works and let's see it in action. Now for that we are going to be diving into a code editor, and as you can see I have a simple counter contract over here that has a counter variable in the storage and a couple of functions. Now if you see the first function, it is called increment and it accepts the amount as the parameter and it increases the value of the counter variable with the amount that we pass in here. Secondly, we have the get variable that simply returns the value of the counter in the storage, and after that we have increment count using struct that is similar to the increment function but accepts a different kind of params. As you can see, it accepts count params and that is a struct. And lastly we have a payable function called pay user that accepts the amount of the base asset and or any native asset, and it transfers the amount to the recipient. Now let's use forc to interact with each of the functions. Now before interacting with the functions using forc, we will have to deploy it. You can deploy it any network of your choice, but for this tutorial I'm gonna go with the local node. So for running a local node on fuel is as simple as just writing 3 words, and you can just specify testnet if you want to run testnet or mainnet if you want to run mainnet over here. So for now I'm gonna go ahead with the local node, and here you go. Now as we have our local node running, let's build our contract and let's deploy. Here you go. As you can see, I have specified the node URL to which the contract should be deployed as the local node, and this is the address that our contract has been deployed to. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be setting the contract address to this. Now you can also load up the local playground in here. You can see I have started the playground and you can play around with the different queries in here. Now as we have deployed the contract, let's call our get variable get function and see the value of the counter variable. Now for that let's run this command. As you can see, I have used the for call, and after that I have passed a couple of flags. Firstly, there is the mode flag that specifies the mode that we want to use. I am using the live mode because I want to actually make the transaction. There are certain different modes available, for example simulate or dry run. You can read about that more in our article or in the docs. And followed by the ABI flag where we have passed the ABI for our for call contract. Here it is, like you can see in the out variable folder and release directory, you can see the for call ABI, and followed that the contract address, and after that the name of the function that we have to invoke. Now let's hit enter, and you can see that the result is 0. That is what we should be getting, as its initial value is 0. Now let's invoke this increment function and increment our counter variable by 5. So for that we will need to use this command. It is the same as the earlier one, the one we used for the get, but instead of the increment we have specified the function name as increment and have passed the argument for the amount value of the amount as 5. Now let's hit enter. As you can see that the result is 5 and the transaction was successful. Now let's see if our value of counter variable is actually increased in the storage. For that we are again gonna call get, and you can see the value has been increased. Now let's try this that accepts complex params, that is struct. Now for that it is nothing complex that we will have to do. We just need to modify our command a little bit, and you can see the rest of the command is same. I have mentioned a different contract function name, increment count using struct, and as params I have passed 4 comma 5 in curly braces and in inverted commas. So as we have used inverted commas, it specifies that something special uh, data type has been used and the value of the struct has been passed inside the curly braces. Now this whole thing is decoded with using the forc call tool with the ABI, so we don't have to worry about how it's gonna decode it. So yeah, it's all this has been taken care of by the tool itself. So now let's hit enter. As you can see, the result has increased to 14 because earlier it was 5 and we have increased it by 9. So yeah, the result is 14. Now let's call this final payable function and see how this goes. Here we will be introducing one more flag that we will see once we have the command. So let's see how it looks like. Now as you can see, the entire command is quite similar to the ones that we seen earlier. The only difference is the name of the function, that is pay user, and followed that we have arguments for this function. And as you can see, for the amount we have passed 100, and secondly we have asset ID. Again, this is a special type of data type, so we have used inverted commas, and in there the contract ID or the asset ID of the asset that we are passing. Also FYI, this is the asset ID of the base asset, that is ETH on Fuel network, if you are not aware of it. And lastly we have the recipient variable. Now if you go to this data type called identity, it is an enum and it accepts two types, that is address and contract ID. So here you can see that we have again used inverted comma, and inside that we have round brackets under that address. This is this address and the address of the recipient to which we want to transfer our funds to. Followed that we have another flag called amount that specifies the amount of the asset that we want to pass with this function. So here we have passed 100 as we want to transfer 100 to the recipient. Now let's try and hit enter. As you can see that we have got the result as an empty brackets, that signifies the transaction was successful, and here we have also got a transaction hash. So this is how interacting using the forc call tool has been look like. This is just the first release of the forc call tool. We will be improving it more further and further. So check out our article for this and stay tuned to the Swaylang Twitter handle for more updates. See you next time. Bye bye.